a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to New York Talk, the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us. Happy Halloween, I suppose. Danny's with us. How is it going, Danny?
It's going all right. I've not got a live audience tonight, so I won't be on the cusp of swearing at anybody. So that's the result. But if you mention the buses, might have to drop a F-bomb here or there. Because anyway, let's get on with the show.
Yes, I see a Danny rant coming today, maybe not a Mick rant. Mick, I'm surprised we can see you. You're normally lights turned off, so nobody knows you're in on Halloween. I'm surprised you can see you.
Well, the funny thing is, it's raining, isn't it? So it's been wonderful.
We've looked out this Halloween. It's raining.
Yeah,
get in.
Perfect. Thank you all for being with us on our delayed episode, a day later than normal. Because me and Mick were in Cardiff for the weekend, we wouldn't have got back in time for the episode on Sunday. Hence the delay. So thank you all for being with us. Excuse me. Cough, sorry. And we want to start this episode by saying another thank you to Athletic Green, who are our sponsor for this episode. The AG1 drink is helping people's gut health and energy levels. It's basically a multivitamin. It helps with keeping your vitamins at a good level. Mick is obviously our spokesperson for the Athletic Green partnership. Talk to me, Mick, about why you still take Athletic Green.
It keeps me awake, mate. It wakes me up in the morning, keeps me awake. It's happy days. Buy it if you can. Get in there.
Buy it. That's it. That's not. It's not like this does that. Just buy it. That's what Mick says.
Just buy it. It's worth it, honestly. Makes you feel $1 million.
It is rated by over 7,000 5-star reviews, recommended by professional athletes as well, which Ben may or may not be in future years. To make it easy, Athletic Green are going to give everybody a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/Rotherham. And allows you to take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thank you very much to those guys. So we've got the comments: Neil Liversage, Paul Brock, Dave Lawton, Steve Thomas, Stephen Senior, Sean Green, Mark Gamble says evening. Looking forward to the 9-1-0 formation tomorrow. Yeah, well, let's get on with it, shall we? Saturday afternoon in Cardiff. Cardiff's a lovely city. That's about all the positive I can think of on Saturday.
So on to Burnley then.
Burnley. Yeah. We should say, thoughts, maybe not the right word, but the people who were failed by the bus company, Danny being one of them, unfortunately. Absolute nightmare. I don't know if there's any update on that.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Not a bad start to what turned out to be a terrible day for Rotherham fans, to be honest with you. Danny, if you want to just try and keep the swearing to as minimal as you can.
Yeah, you're now live on the BBC. Please do not swear. Yeah. So I'll start from the very beginning because I woke up to a message from my last saying, I've got a bad feeling about you guys going to Cardiff today. Got a really bad feeling about it. Turns out we didn't go anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, got to town at about 8:15. Bus was late into town, which is sort of rare. Messaged a few of the lads who were at the pub, and they said bus hasn't even turned up yet. Worst thing is, the bus company, which I will name, which is at Cawthorns, they have since messaged Dave Scrivens and tried to sort out refunds for the Cardiff game, but unfortunately one of their buses turned up, which was going to Whitby with the day trippers. So their day trip bus turned up, but unfortunately their away day bus didn't. So that was a bit odd. And then about 9:15, I got a message from Scrivens saying tell everybody in town to go home because we don't think it's turning up, and it didn't. And his message their owner, who is in America at the minute with his family at Disney World, so I'm told, and he's gone absolutely apoplectic about what's happened. There must have been a absolutely colossal mess up with bookings, whether it were bookings being cancelled, forgotten about, or the buses just all decided to go belly up all at the same time. But there's been a massive miscommunication or mess up somewhere. And it's left Rotherham fans out of pocket. Thankfully, the refunds are being sorted, at least for us. I don't know what's happening with Sheffield United fans with their refunds and stuff like. But yeah, I've basically got my Burnley bus for free because £17 worth has gone onto that instead. So it's not all bad. And what I will say is that anyone who's looking to get your Cardiff ticket refunded, with cost of living, £19 can actually make a difference somewhere. The system that the club's got in place is you take your ticket down, they take your ticket off you, they write down your phone number on their own little ticket, and then that goes to their head of supporter communications. I forget his name, someone will tell me in the comments. And then he gets in touch with a rep at Cardiff, get the number, then check if that wasn't scanned, and if it's one of the 50 tickets that wasn't scanned, then they basically put it back into your account with the club or direct into your bank. So it's a tricky process because the game's already gone and you're getting refunds for games that have already happened. So they have to check serial numbers and if it was scanned or not, and this, that, and other. But yeah, so if you're thinking about getting your tickets refunded, £19 can make a difference somewhere in the current climate. So I would recommend doing it. It's what I've done. I've lost a ticket for me ticket wall at home. But it'll just encourage me to go next time. So, yeah.
Yes. And if you're going to miss a game, Danny, that was the game to miss, weren't it, to be fair?
Yeah. Just thank you to IFC Tiny's mum for letting me go around and watch the game on their special Fire Stick. I'm sure everyone's got at home as well. The game wasn't nice. It wasn't nice watching it with the Derby fan either because we had the absolute stuffing took out of us. We didn't lay a glove on Cardiff, did we? At all?
No,
at all.
Not at all. Let's move on to that, I suppose. It's difficult to know where to start, Mick, because the performance was really quite that bad. I don't really know where to start, and I suppose the way to start is that we didn't start. Rotherham never started. Strange. It was. I don't think quite unchanged, but obviously it wasn't unchanged when Richard Wood came back into the squad for Grant Hall, obviously. Very similar lineup to the Coventry game. It just didn't start making it odd. Very, very odd. Matt Taylor didn't seem to offer up an explanation in his post-match either. It was just bad.
Yeah, I don't really... I mean, I've been thinking about this. Obviously, it's been on my mind since we came back. Thinking about how to even try and describe it for anybody that hasn't actually seen it, who either weren't there or hasn't seen the game. But I'm a bit of a loss, to be honest with you. You sort of put it up against the performance at Coventry, and it was literally like two completely different teams. There's no... I can't pick one area of the pitch that was any better than the other. I don't think we defended particularly badly. I just think we were just bad. We couldn't keep the ball. We just could not keep hold of the ball. No matter what I was going to say no matter what we tried, but we didn't seem to try anything either.
No.
It was so lackluster and it had shades of the performance at Sunderland about it. Except for the fact that Cardiff were crap.
Oh, they were bad. How bad were they?
Make no mistake about it. I mean, I was going to say they didn't deserve to win, but we deserved to lose. So somebody had to win, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just an awful game from minute 1 to minute 90. And I can't think of a positive to drag out the game at all. Genuinely, I can't. It was just awful.
It was only one.
Yeah, I suppose the positive is that we only lost 1-0, yeah. And to be fair, we were lucky to get 0.
Right.
You know? It was just dreadful. Dreadful.
Yeah. Stephen Thomas says Cardiff, like mentioned, Cardiff weren't that good. We made them look better than they were. The thing is, we were that bad, we didn't even make them look good, if that's somehow possible. They're still very clearly a rubbish team. And if that's what they're going to be like between now and the end of the season, they're going to be down there with us. Well, they will be in a relegation fight if that's the best that Cardiff have got.
Yeah,
we know that's not the best we've got. Cardiff have obviously been in a bad run of form, so it was obviously question marks over them. Go, mate.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think John Morell's put there in the comments that we had that weekend fixture and they didn't. Possibly, I mean, that possibly could have something to do with it because it was a high tempo game at Coventry.
It's not like they had an extra spring or anything, was it? It wasn't an energetic game from them.
No, you're right. You're right. It wasn't. But perhaps that has something to do with just the lack of any sort of quality at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just so difficult to sit here for another 50 minutes and go, I don't know. That's where I am with it. Just nothing to pick out of it that makes you think, yeah, well, that bit were all right or whatever. Just not good at all.
No, we'll pick out some bits which were particularly not good. I'll see if we can find some positives. Paramount UK says you would have thought after being sent down by them, we would be more up for it. If there was a different manager in charge, I think the game would have gone differently. Matt Taylor hasn't got that baggage like previous managers. Yeah. Let's talk about the lineup, Danny. We can mention Victor, but there's not much to mention. He made a few routine saves. He's one of the few that comes out with any sort of credit. But that makes sense. We didn't defend. Did we defend badly? I know the goal was sloppy. I agree that the build of the goal was very, very sloppy. But we restricted them, or or are they just bad? I don't know. What do you think?
Is this all asleep, Danny?
Is it?
It's $1 million question, isn't it? Really, I think the back.
Oh, this has not gone well.
Can you hear me all right?
In and out.
My data's playing up. Sorry, I had to lag a little bit. Oh dear. Oh dear. It's a horror show on Halloween, lads. It is. Oh dear. Shall I join back? I'll join back and try again. 1 minute.
Try again. We'll go through some comments. John Morell says they've not been a good side all season, but seem to dig out results to keep their head above water. But I see them being bang in the relegation mix this season. Yeah, I agree. It's not the manager, obviously. Mike Miller says if this performance was at the end of a really long poor results, you would almost say the players weren't playing for the manager. Clearly, that was not the case. John Brown says Danny's on 10k dial-up speed. Yeah.
It's just in Japan.
Yeah. Let's talk about individual performances. And to be honest with you, Mick, I don't know where else to start other than Ben Wiles at the minute. It's a very difficult criticism that we've got to level, but I can't find another way around this now, to be honest with you. We've almost been skirting the issue for a few weeks, but the saddest performance sort of summed up Wiles at the minute. Everything he touches goes wrong. His first touch is bad. Then the first touch will be okay, and then the second touch loses it, and the pass is wrong, and then he takes a shot, and then he's just bad at the minute. And I know he's not a bad player. I know he's a good player. We all agree. I think most Rotherham fans agree that Wiles is definitely a championship player. But there is something wrong. Danny, I'll come to you on this one. Wilesy, talk to me about Ben Wiles, Danny, because he needs to find some form. We know how good he is, but it's just not working, is it?
A bit like Danny's Wi-Fi. No, it's not working.
Okay, so how long is my delay?
That long.
Oh dear, we've still got a few seconds delay, haven't we? Oh dear.
Yeah. Seems a bit better. Go on, Danny. Talk to me about Ben Wiles and his lack of form.
Yeah, it's it's really confusing with Wiles because we sort of know, we've said this before, we know what he is capable of, but he just doesn't seem to have rooted it down this season, if that makes sense. Like, he's just not been consistent enough for me anyway, which is quite bad to say because I do like Wiles and I know he is going to go on to do big things as a footballer. But certainly in the Championship, the way you show you are a good player, both for your team and just in general in the division, is by showing consistency. And unfortunately, you can't be in a squad when you're being inconsistent when someone like, I don't know, Jamie Lindsay or even Scott High could come in and offer something different and be consistent with it. I think if Wiles needs to nail down a place, he does need to have a period on the bench and just not just reevaluate himself, but reevaluate his application of his ability, which it sounds really, really harsh to say, but I think that needs to be looked at. And I think Taylor coming in as new manager, and he's already put on record that he's going to shake things up and try new systems and new formations and this, that, and other. And that could be the way forward with Wiles. He could turn Wiles into like an impact midfielder rather than a starting midfielder. We have seen him go missing at times in matches, a bit like my camera feed to try and make me sound a bit clearer on the podcast. So yeah, I think Wiles is just due a rest. I think Burnley is the perfect chance to rest him. However, I would still start him because Burnley were after him in the summer. Like, that's the chess game you need to play.
Yeah, possibly. Doing Coward says Wiles needs to put in a top performance on Wednesday to get a move in January, like Danny says. Nicholas Skidmore says, look really frustrated. Power UK says, if the sad thing is, if he's hoping for a move to Burnley, the way Wiles is playing, will they still want him? No. Ray Smedley says, Ben Wiles, I think he's upset that the previous manager said there was a £2 million offer for him, said it wasn't enough, and then said manager leaves. It may well feel let down. Yeah, I don't know, mate.
Nice dodging of the name there, Matt.
Thank you very much. Didn't want to put a pound in just yet. I was, trying to save it. I've gone through his few stats, Mick, and it's sort of interesting. Let's talk about his shots first of all. There are only 4 or 5 players in the Championship that have a lower shot accuracy than Ben Wiles in the Championship this season. He has had 21 shots this season, 2 on target. And that sort of sums him up. Every time he shoots, it's just going left, right, and centre, and he's not impacting the game in a positive way. And we know we know how good technically he is. So why is he not in target as much? Do you think it's just a confidence thing, or do you think it's just a sulking a little bit?
No, I don't think he's sulking now. I think we're past that stage now, aren't we? That may have been the case at the beginning. I don't think he's sulking for this long. I think if that was the case, it'd show up in training as well. It'd show up in day-to-day life, if you like. So no, I don't think that's the case at all. I just think he's woefully out of touch. He's just so far out of form that he needs a break from the first team. I don't think that'll come on Wednesday night, to be honest with you. I think he'll definitely play against Burnley simply because of the interest that came from them in the summer. He's not a bad player. You don't become a bad player. We know what he's capable of. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, is it, at the moment, until he has a break? That's my view.
Yeah. Will in the comments says when Wiles is off it when you hear Matt and Mick ranting at full time and you know exactly who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Me and Mick spent the weekend in Cardiff with family, and most of the conversation was about Ben Wiles for the rest of the Saturday evening. To be honest with you. Damien Code says Wiles is missing Paul. Mr. W. Nearly.
At least you got to Cardiff.
True. Stephen Coy says, do you think he's missing the previous manager, Danny? Do you think that's maybe something, he's been brought up as a professional footballer under one manager. I imagine a change in managers potentially unsettling, plus the transfer nonsense as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, the one who shall not be named, number 3, if you like, Matt Amshaw, he brought Wiles all the way through his academy days right into the first team. And for them to go, their whole team to go, probably a little bit unexpectedly, at least for the players' point of view, may have potentially shook him a little bit. Like the previous comment says, the one who shall not be named turned down a 2 million bid saying it's not enough, and then he goes elsewhere. So it sort of left Wiles in limbo a little bit, I think, and he's probably regretting not pursuing that move a little bit more, because I think, well, what would have happened if I'd have took that? What would have I been doing now? Now I'm stuck somewhere else, and it's just it's all. I don't think it's a sulking thing per se. Like, he's not like he's just sat in a corner with his bottom lip out and his legs crossed saying, "I'm not going to play football very well because of this." I think it's a case of it's just mentally wobbled him, and it's really put him back saying, well, what happens now? Sort of thing. Will the new manager keep playing me, which he has done, but then it's playing on his mind saying, I need to still play well to impress this manager who is more liable to drop me than the previous one. So I think it is just a mind, not torture, but a mind process with Wilesley. And yeah, because he's only just older than me, and I have mental wobbles at times. So if you're a professional footballer whose job is to perform on a football pitch and you're not doing that, and then your mentor's gone elsewhere, yeah, it is going to be a big struggle for him. But unfortunately, football is a results-based competition. And if you're one of the chains that could be changed to get a different result, then unfortunately you do need that rest. But a rest might do him well. And just rejig his mental mindset a little bit. But yeah, big change for Wiles anyway.
I don't think the change of manager is the reason why he is continuing to perform badly. I think that may well have been the catalyst for it. That coupled with the move that fell through or never happened. But I don't think that's specifically why he was bad on Saturday or any other game. I just think it's just the fact that he's got himself into a situation where he's completely out of touch, probably as a result of that in the first place, but no longer. It's just he's out of touch. He needs a rest. He absolutely needs a rest, in my view.
If you want some positive stats, and I can tell you that Ben Wiles was the best, as the second highest pass completion rate in the squad. There's only Jamie Lindsay has a better pass completion percentage than Ben Wiles, and he's third in terms of touches in the attacking area in the final third, and the penalty box, in the attacking penalty box. So the stats actually tell you, Mick, that he is getting in good positions. That maybe it's difficult because we've got a comment here basically saying that it looked like he was stropping a little bit, and it does look like his shoulders drop, and he looks down. But those stats tell you he's actually doing the right thing. He's getting in the right areas. He's touching the ball in the right areas. But what he's trying to do at the end, it's going to be mentioned, the shots of rubbish. That does suggest it's more form.
Yeah, exactly.
Height, doesn't it?
That's exactly what it says. That's precisely what it says. He's getting himself into the right positions, and unfortunately, his touch is letting him down. His shooting is letting him down. Whatever it is. So now it needs to spell out inside. We've got Jamie Lindsay can come in and do the job. Maybe not as well as Ben Wiles when he's on song, but he's nowhere near on song. So he can do a better job than Ben Wiles is doing at the moment for me. So yeah, I mean, it's just he's got to get out of it.
He has. John Wales says, I'd argue where is the competition for places? If he's so out of form, any other manager worth his salt takes him out of the side and pushes him to form to get back in. And that's where you start to question Matt Taylor, Danny. Only 6 games in, I accept that. But we can all see it's not working. and the previous manager, this applies to him as well. We can all see it's not working for Wiles at the minute. So the kind thing, it's almost a kindness, is to come out, just have a few games, put somebody else in because that's obviously good for Jamie Lindsay or Scott or whoever comes in. You're rotating your squad a bit more, and it gives Wiles a chance to regroup, and it gives somebody else a chance to perform. I can't understand why he's still playing, why he's still getting picked for 90 minutes, and people are questioning him getting the armband and things such as that. I get the questions, and this is magnifying. Playing him more is magnifying the problem almost, isn't it?
Yeah, that's certainly one element to it. But like I said, with those stats, with the passes in the attacking area stats, that to me shows what Wilesy is capable of, but it's his application which is letting him down. And with the whole thing with the captain's armband, I mean, when I first saw Wilesy as captain, it's great. Academy lads come through and now he's captain in the team. But then, where's the comment from NSW? It's Barlasser who gets the instructions, which is actually what we saw when He Who Shall Not Be Named was here. Whenever Richard Wood wasn't in the team, it was actually Barlasser that was captain. And I don't know, maybe Matt Taylor tried to shake up a little bit, give Wilesy a bit of confidence in himself by giving him the armband. Maybe gave him the armband because he is the academy lad and he thinks, I don't know, maybe that'll spur him on a little bit. But like you say, most of us can see it's not clicking with Wilesy, and you've got, Scott High waiting in the wings, same with Jamie Lindsay, a Dauphin as well, if you want to completely shake it up a little bit. You have got a decent competition for places, and to be honest, we've said that Scott High is quite similar the way he operates with Wilesy, with the way Wilesy operates, sorry. Maybe that means we take Wilesy out and bring Scott High in, and if Woody's not playing, which you might not do on Wednesday, or Peltier not playing, or whoever it is, I'd give the armband to Barlasser if Woody's not playing, because he seems to be able to distribute the instructions more vocally than Wilesy can. It's we pretend to know football and know mental state of footballers, and I've seen, I can't remember which comment it was, about a professional footballer, regardless who the manager is. Yeah, that's true. But the mental strain of effectively not doing your job to the best of your ability and it starting to weigh on you, that affects everybody, regardless of what profession you're in. And I think it is starting to get to Wilesy now, because it get to me, if I've had a run of 6 games with a new manager and I still haven't found my form since the last guy left, it does weigh on you, because then you start thinking, if I don't start performing, I'll get dropped, and then you perform even worse because you're overthinking everything, and then you eventually do get dropped, etc., etc. But I think, like you said, the kindest thing to do for Wilesy is just give him a rest. Just give him a rest and recompose himself. And might do that against Burnley, who knows? But I'd love to see Scott High come in, because when he came in against, who were it against now? He came on and had Hull. He came on and had a very, very good game.
Good.
And if he has that desire from the start of the game, it could completely rejuvenate the midfield. Because I thought against Cardiff, we were very flat in midfield and didn't really pursue it. And we turned over possession a lot against Cardiff as well, which is something that Matt Taylor's teams aren't really renowned for. Like, he plays a more possession-based thing, or at least he did with Exeter. So for us to turn over possession with Cardiff so much... you see, I'm getting it right today. I'm not saying Coventry, I'm saying Cardiff. I'm getting it right. For us to turn over that much possession with Cardiff, no wonder we ended up with 37% possession, which is very bad to say. And then didn't create much going forward. I think we had 3 shots all game and only 1 shot on target, which is quite bad, to be fair. Said at the start, we didn't lay a glove on him, and maybe a rejig in midfield could solve that. We'll have to wait and see.
The problem you've got is now, if you play him against Burnley and he has a storming game, what does that look like? We all know what it looks like. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to be true. But if he plays Wednesday, scores 2 goals, and we win 2-1, or whatever, we all, in the back of all our heads, we're all going to be thinking it, aren't we, Mick? It's probably not true, but we're all going to be thinking it, aren't we? So that's another question mark. Does Matt Taylor think that way? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see on that one. I mean, we've talked Wilesy to death here, haven't we? And nobody has the answers. So I think the manager's hoping that he's going to play himself back into a bit of form. And maybe the team are behind that. Maybe the squad's behind that as well. That wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I will say, for finishing off the Wiles chat by saying, I think we're all in agreement that we all think Wiles is more than good enough for this level.
Oh, God, yeah.
And this is why we're sort of spending so much time on him, because we know he's good enough. And if we can get that out of him, then we're away. We're laughing. The fact is, a Rotherham boy obviously complicates matters and maybe frustrates people a bit more. I don't know. We all want Wiles to do well. We all do. So hopefully it comes good. Wednesday, Saturday after World Cup, I'm not really bothered. We'll just hope it comes good for him eventually. We'll move on in a moment. I just want to mention, Rotherham Hospice have asked us to give them a little shout out for some of the fundraising they're doing. They've asked us to let you all know about the Christmas fun run that they're doing just before Christmas at Clifton Park on the 4th of December. It's a Christmas fun run, festive fancy dress fun run on the 4th of December to raise money for, obviously, the Rotherham Hospice. We'll like to promote them wherever we possibly can because the amazing work, that they do in Rotherham and for everybody else. So if you want to take part in that, go to rotherhamhospice.org.uk and you can join in. I can't wait to see Mick dressed as an elf or Father Christmas. Doing a fun run through Clifton Park. What do you fancy, Mick? What do you reckon?
I'm thinking of dressing up as a middle-aged bald bloke.
Okay.
So you're thinking of dressing up as the man who shall not be named then, Meg? That'll below the belt. Oh, I'm sorry.
Can't do a beard, mate. Can't do a beard.
Terrible growing a beard. But we got weekend. We've got the Legends Night, I think, on the Friday the 2nd. We'll hopefully raising some money for the hospice. And Sunday the 4th, small money raised for the hospice as well. So if you want to get involved in that, like I said, rotherhamhospice.org.uk. John Morell's got it. Nick's going to go dressed as Barry Bannon. There we go. Yes, John.
I need a minute to myself after that. That's tickling me.
There's no way, even for the hospice, that I am pulling on another one of those horrible shirts.
Again.
It made my eyes bleed last time.
It's the fact it was in your house as well. Oh.
I know. I've managed to get rid of the smell eventually. It took ages.
We found
and also we're going to mention
again, haven't we?
Yeah. Also mention again the fundraising that we're doing. Don't mention the war. So if your friends or family mention our previous manager, I want you to challenge them to put £1 into our Just Giving page, which is scrolling across the bottom of our screen on YouTube. It's on our Twitter page as well. It's justgiving.com/fundraising/new-york-talk. £1 for every time you mention the former manager. See how much you raise. Danny's not put his in yet, by the way. Danny,
no, I'm putting mine as a lump sum at the end, but just to see how many times I've actually said it. I am going to chuck another £1 in by saying this, right?
Go on.
Imagine if Paul Warne actually watches one of these podcasts and sees that going down the bottom of the screen. I don't know what he'll think. I really do hope he sees it as a bit of fun. And can you imagine if he chucked in a bit of money for it as well? That would be really, really funny. But you just can't type his name in the donation box.
Can't put his own name.
Yeah. It'll just be Paul War, and that's it.
Yeah. I'm sure he will. He's got a good sense of humour, hasn't he?
Yeah, I hope he does see this as a joke, which it is meant as a joke, and it's just a running thing that we're just raising money for the hospice. What am I on now? £6?
£6 now, yeah, Danny. Well, if you put it in, the reason we've done a Just Giving page so people can keep a track on us to make sure we are donating.
I don't worry. I've got a list, and I'm making sure. I've got a little tally chart, and I'm keeping count. So by the end of this, when we give the money in, I'll end up putting about £30 or something like that. Knowing me.
But by end of the season, you've got about £100.
Right. I best put some student loan aside then, so I can pay for it.
Mick, we're going to suggest a race.
My war chest.
Yeah, could dress up as a referee, and be abused all the way around.
Just don't address as Gavin Ward, please.
Yeah.
Or
I'll tell you
Oliver
what, you can
Loafers,
go as a
because
referee. Danny can go as Victor, and I'll go as Carlton Morris, and we'll recreate that moment for charity.
So you're basically what you're saying.
how come I'm getting my head kicked in here?
Anyway, we're just going silly now. You can tell we don't want to talk about games, don't you?
You're going to fracture Danny's eye socket for Rotherham Hospice, and I'm going to walk away.
We're going to pretend. I don't want to hurt Danny.
Well, that gets me out of uni for a bit.
Well, there you go. That's true. Anyway, moving back on to the game. Not that I want to talk about the Cardiff game. Is there anything you can talk about? Ollie Rathbone had a decent enough game. Ironically, I thought the midfield did okay. I thought Barlaser was fine without being amazing. I think there was one pass that was exceptional. And Rathbone was okay. Those are the minor positives, aren't they, really, from Saturday?
Yeah. That's it. I saw Ollie Rathbone's mum and dad in crowd. That's another positive.
We did,
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I can't think of anything else, mate. I mean, a Cardiff fan very kindly explained to us how to get to the away end without having to walk all the way around ground. That was positive. But yeah. I mean, it's a nice ground. It's a cracking ground, actually.
Yeah. This sounds horrible, but it's too big from the stand nearest the camera, the stand where the camera's on. It's half empty, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can tell that's where the camera doesn't point.
But other than that, no, there's nothing positive for me to come out of it. And you listen to Matt Taylor's interview afterwards, or not afterwards, but the one from, I assume, from Monday, from his press conference with Radio Sheffield. He's clearly aware of it. He's clearly aware of what the situation, what I'm going to say, what the issues are. He's a better man than me because I couldn't pin my finger on what the issue was, but he clearly has. And again, like the last bad performance against Hull, I expect to bounce back on Wednesday night. However, it's going to be a much tougher task than it's likely to be a much tougher task than Coventry, you would think.
And Cardiff.
Well, I mean, look, come on. We could have put under 12s out and they would have given them a better game. they would.
True, it's true. That's true. It sounds like we're being a bit, snarky here, but I suspect Cardiff fans will say the same, that it was just a bad game of football.
Yeah. I don't think anybody came out of that stadium smiling, to be honest.
No. More relief than smile.
Yeah.
Seen a few people, Danny, get a bit of criticism for Wes Harding. Now, I'm not particularly buying into it. What I am thinking and leaning towards is Wes Harding isn't a wing-back. He is a centre-back or a right-back. He doesn't excel. His skill set is not suited to wing-back. He's not quick enough and probably hasn't got the energy enough to get up and down. He tries, doesn't he? But I don't think his skill set is for a wing-back, and feels like he probably shouldn't be starting in that position. What do you think?
I think at the minute he's employed as either a makeshift at wing back or as a right-sided centre back, which he does okay in. I think, at least from what I saw on the telly against Cardiff, was that on that right side, he just had to keep sitting deeper and deeper until he was effectively a right back. And that, again, that's another thing that killed us in midfield, not having that wide outlet on the right side. And like I say, he is a right back. I think Norton Cuffy does a better job as a wing back because he can bomb forward but come back, and he does have that defensive side to him, which we have seen before. But with Wes, he definitely operates better as a right back, and he just needs that more experienced head next to him. But then Woody doesn't play well in a 4 at the back, so it's a very interesting juggling game for that one. If you need Wes to sit deeper as a wing back, he does well. but if you need him as that right-sided centre-back, he does have a mistake in him. And I think it's just that he just overcommits, like, especially against against somebody, and every time they went down their left side of defence was overcommitted and then got done by their player. Like I can see it in my head. I just can't remember the team. And it's just an unfortunate circumstance with Wes. He was brought in, and then we went to a 3 at the back with wing back system, and he's just sort of adapted the best way that he can. It's not knocking his abilities of a player, because he's a very good player. It's just the system we employ sort of leaves him out to dry a bit with being caught out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Taylor's seen that, and that's why we try and employ a bit more of a 5 at the back system sometimes, and it suits Wes as your far-sided player, but also suits Woody with 3 at the back. There's a lot of working out to do with Matt Taylor, and he's done all right in his first 6 games, if I'm being honest. But with Wes, I can see why the criticism falls at his feet. But I think one of the more expert ones is John Morrell, because he has seen him at Birmingham and how they operated him there.
Yeah. John Morrell says Wes played wing back for Birmingham once in his younger days against Villa. We don't talk about that day or his performance.
He has definitely improved as a wing back, though. Don't get me wrong. He has improved as a wing back. It's just that you can tell his natural position is sitting slightly deeper than the wing back position.
He's playing in the back 3 with Woody and Humphreys. I know I keep banging on about it, but that is the back 3 that we should be playing. There's no question in my mind, and I don't know why we're not. And it may now Peter Kioso's back.
That's big for us.
Back and available. I suspect. I would hope that might be something that we see a little bit more often. But that is his position, definitely. And those are the 3. Those are the 3 that should be first choice back 3 for me every game. And I'm not a fan of resting Woody during week or at weekends. I'm not a fan of it. Woody needs to keep playing while ever he can. Woody, Harding, Humphreys. That is the back 3 for me that we absolutely should be playing.
Yeah, Humphreys is out for Wednesday, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's one of the areas that we didn't strengthen enough in the summer. I know we've got Peter Kioso in, but one injury, and then we don't have a right to the wing back, and we have to go bring Bucknott or Cuffy in. Same with left hand side. Shane Ferguson, I don't think can play against him as Wes. I don't think he's very good at wing back at this level. So you're talking Cohen Bramall, who's got an incredible amount of stuff to learn. He's got so much to learn, Cohen Bramall. We're so weak in depth in those areas for me. I think we needed to strengthen significantly in depth, but we didn't. And we are where we are till January, aren't we, I suppose? Anyway.
Still not bad being 13th.
Well, that's it. I feel like we're being right negative, but if you'd offered me 13th going into November, we would have been buzzing, wouldn't we? We would have been absolutely buzzing. Still 5 points to go relegation zone, 22 points, still averaging more than a point a game, which obviously keep us up. Plenty of positives. It's just the manner of the performance, isn't it? That's all it is.
It's one performance. We've had 2 or 3.
Well, it's 2 out of 3. If you add the whole game in there, it's 2 out of 3.
You've got the whole game. You've got Saturday, and you've got Sunderland. Those are the 3 games where we've performed poorly.
It's a Wigan.
Yeah,
you could say Wigan, but I suppose you're not really counting that, are we?
No. And it's 3 bad performances in a season so far. It's just I don't understand why people are losing their heads over it. I don't. But I do. I don't know why I said that, but it shouldn't
be. Yeah. We'll see. We've got 4 games. If we pick up a couple of points, it might be a good return out of the next 4 games we've got. Burnley, Norwich, Sheffield United, and then Luton. Stephen Thomas, what about Blackburn? For 45 minutes, we were okay against Blackburn for 45 minits. Well, 30 minutes, something like that. Anything else you want to pick out? Any of you two want to pick out from Saturday's game? Saturday as a day?
I can't believe we got 45 minutes out of it, to be honest. And most of that we're talking about Ben Wiles, I suppose. So, yeah.
Cool.
It is what it is, isn't it? We move on.
We do.
I keep saying that, don't
I just enjoyed building him a model plane instead of going to Cardiff.
I? Oh, you do need to get a life, Danny.
I'm an old man.
That one watches on Saturday.
My missus says this to me. I drink John Smiths and I build model planes. I'm legit an old man in a 23-year-old's body.
The only joy I got was bullying Ben all day. I'm not going to see Ben very much because he was at the NFL Academy, but I got to bully him for a couple of days, which I really, really enjoyed. So there you go. I hope Ben's core's better because it had a sore core, didn't it?
Sore core.
No, bless him.
Bless him. But fatigue's all in the mind, is what Ben tells us. So he needs to train it more. Let's move forward. By the way, none of us got the prediction right. Unsurprisingly, we all went positive, as you would do. Sean Green says the goal. It was a good finish, Mick. Poor defending though, to the build to get to that point.
Yeah, it was. It was. It almost had. I've not watched it back, if I'm perfectly honest, but from memory, it almost had a little bit of a look about that whole goal. It kind of pinballed around in penalty area, and nobody took charge of it. So yeah, it's just what can you do? What can you do apart from get out there and lay a glove on him and go at him, which we didn't do.
Yeah, I think Breck used to say commentary. In lockdown, I remember Breck saying, "Just give him something to think about. Just ask him a question." With the Breckin phrase, weren't it?
Yeah.
And we just didn't ask him a question.
No, we didn't.
And it's a basic of sport, really. Well,
the only question we asked him is, "There's the goal. There's the ball. Do you want to put it in?"
Basically, yeah.
That was the question that we asked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
question on a potential penalty maker. Again, I haven't seen a replay of this. A handball late-ish on in the game, where we were. Have you had any thoughts on Mr. Langford's performance?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember you screaming about it.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do remember it. Yeah, I do remember it. Yeah, I mean, his arm, to be fair, with hindsight, his arm was in a natural position. Assuming he's Superman, he was in a natural position. But yeah, listen, if he didn't see it, did it? Well, he did see it, didn't he? Because he waved it away.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it's Oliver Langford. What do you expect?
It was poor.
I mean, he didn't. Listen, he didn't have a particularly bad game.
No, he didn't.
But yeah, to be fair, I had forgotten about that. Thanks for reminding me. I can moan about that again tomorrow now when I talk to people at work.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Let's move on. Move on to the Burnley game. Going to the home of the top of the league is just what we needed after a game like that, isn't it? Let's start with Ref Watch. Oliver Langford is the referee for Wednesday night.
Again?
It's not.
No, it's not.
It's Lee Doughty.
Apologies. Lee Doughty.
Oh, Matt, you nearly gave me an heart attack. Bloody hell.
Not updated the name on that one. Lee Doughty refereed the 1-1 draw at home to Watford this season. Gave 5 yellow cards to us, according to Transfer Market. 11 games, 6 penalties this season. So, just something to think about, isn't it? When you're playing a team like Burnley. Teams like Burnley. A team that have come down and have some big names and things like that, you expect to see a bit of theatrics, don't you, sometimes? Let's see. Let's wait and see.
You can wait till next Saturday for theatrics, mate, when Norwich come to town.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for that.
What I should have said, you can wait till next Saturday for theatrics when Norwich roll into town.
Yeah. The first meeting of us and Burnley for 6 years, obviously in the Premier League for that time, 2015-16, they did the double over us. The last time we beat Burnley was back in 2004, back at Millmore. Martin Butler, Robbie Stockdale got one of his few goals, and also Michael Proctor. Do you remember Michael Proctor, Mick?
I do, yeah.
Did swap for Darren Byfield, didn't we? I mean, it didn't go very well. Alternate on the net, and another note, last time we won at Turf Moor was 2002, so 20 years. Alan Lee, Darren Byfield, and John Mullin each got 2 that day.
There you go.
Yeah. John Morell says Burnley says good luck. They're the best side that you've seen this season in the Championship. Keep it to them. We've done well.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. We know Cameron Humphreys is unavailable. There's always question marks on Woody on his availability. We play Wednesday, Saturday, so he's not going to play one of these games. Which one would you like to see Woody playing? I suppose is the question.
Well, the issue you've got is that I would probably I'd like to see him miss the Burnley game on the basis that if Grant Hall plays against Norwich, we're going to be a penalty city, innit? Because he's going to be dragging people all over the place, taking shirts off in penalty area and everything. So maybe Grant Hall comes into that centre on Wednesday night and hope that he can keep his hands off players out in penalty area. I don't know. Yeah, probably. I'd probably save Woody for Saturday because he's got. It feels like I know he probably hasn't, but it feels like he's got more experience, and he's unlikely to be old manned quite as easy as Grant Hall will be. So, difficult one. It's a difficult one because if with Cam Humphreys with his niggling injury as well, that's obviously not going to help. He's not going to be available for selection, so it really cuts down our options in that back three. But I suspect it's going to be Peltier, Hall, and Wes. Yeah.
What do you think, Danny? Peltier, I think, got man of the match on the club's poll from Saturday's game. Yeah, he did okay. I'm surprised he won that poll, to be honest with you. What do you reckon? Peltier, do you think Mick's same, or do you think, or could you see Woody coming in, staying in?
I think with if you were to take Woody out and save him for Saturday, then yeah, I agree. Mick's back line is the more logical approach. But I'm going to throw a wild card in there. I want to see Jamie McCart on that left side.
Forgot about him.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him.
Side, didn't he?
Did he? Mm.
Yeah. Oddly.
What? I mean, we've not really seen much of McCart. We've actually seen more of him now. Taylor's come in before he who shall not be named, which is weird because he's the one who signed him. Anyway, I would like to see at least an attempt made with McCart, Hall, and Harding. The two H's in the McCart. Just because McCart's our natural left footer and he's got good distribution, which could get us out of the trenches a little bit if he sees a pass and gets us out. Then you've got Hall as your experienced heads, like effectively your replacement for Woody, and then Harding, who's also got the experienced head next to him, so might reduce his likability for a mistake. But anyway, I just want to see McCart start. To be fair, a start from McCart, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I would definitely. Mike the Miller says, remember an utterly brilliant goal from Trevor Berry in the 3-0 FA Cup win at Burnley in the, I think, 97 season. I think 97-98, I think. It was our first game ever live on Sky.
There's a podcast somewhere that we've done where Trevor Berry doesn't mention it at all for at least the first 5 minutes of that podcast.
Yeah,
we need to get Trevor Berry back on. Because he's a good lad.
Oh, we love Trevor. We love Trev. Yeah, that was. If you've not seen the Trevor Berry goal, you need to go on YouTube. The picture quality is terrible, but it was stunning. It was back in the early days of Sky. We had Martin Taylor and Andy Gray, who was still on Sky at the time, raving about this Division. But what was Division 3 guy got so it's gone his absolute world. It was just spectacular.
Can confirm I've seen this goal, and it was in a post chat session. Wasn't it, lads? He sent me the link to the goal. I watched it, and I just sat there with my mouth open, like, how on earth he scored that? People say Alex Ravel's goal might be the best goal scored at Wembley. Trevor Berry's goal has got a strong shout of being the best Rotherham goal that's been captured on television.
True.
Yeah, our first time ever on Sky, wasn't it? I think
it was. It was an FA Cup first round replay.
Of all things on Sky.
The glory of Rotherham United.
Oh yes.
Yeah, go watch that if you want. It is on YouTube, so go and watch it. Powerman UK says he would like Bramall, McCart, Hall, Harding, Cuffy. That's from left to right. We have Nicholas Skidmore says Cuffy has to start. We have to get the pitch quicker. Gonna need to hit them on the counter, so need as much pace as possible. Yes. Now we spent the day with Ben on Saturday, Mick, and he was seething. I think is the right word. That Brook Norton Cuffy didn't start because essentially we need the pace, and it's difficult to disagree. To be honest with you, this is not really a slight on Wes, but it's what Norton Cuffy gives you from a movement up the pitch, and you don't lose anything defensively. We know that's the best thing about him. You don't lose anything defensively. Strange he hasn't started, but for me, it's time. You've got to get him back in. Maybe not Bramall, but certainly Cuffy needs to start on as right wing back for me inside.
Yeah, I think you're right because it does give you it gives you that attacking outlet far more than Wes does, and it gives you a similar sort of attacking outlet as Cohen Bramall does on the left, and it allows you that pace getting back defending if and when the opposition have got pacey wingers. So yeah, for me, Bramall and Norton Cuffy need to start, depending, of course, on Kioso. I mean, I can't see Peter Kioso being up to match speed yet. We may well see him, but I think it'll be a change for Cuffy later on. Would be the option I'd be looking at. I suspect. Well, I would. That for me. So yeah, definitely. I'm with Ben on that. He should have started on Saturday. He'd have tore him a new one down that side, and it would have given him something to think about.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Steve Adams says Chio's available. Chio Bennett and Sean Green. It asks, is Peter Kioso available? Yeah, Peter Kioso. Matt Taylor says Kioso's trained with the group, which I think is probably the first time since probably August that he's trained with the group. Excited to see that. Excited to see him come in. We'll come into the midfield in a minute, Danny, but let's talk about striking options. We start with obviously Kelly and Washington, both pretty ineffective. Chio is available. Is he available for 90 minutes? We obviously don't know. How tempted would you be to just to throw Chio back in again, just to give them something to think about?
Yeah, I think Taylor might explore that option, potentially bringing him in for Kelly. I think I've had this discussion with a few people. Kelly is definitely making a name for himself as an impact sub, because I don't know. It could be down to, again, the mental side of it, or when you're playing for 20, 25 minutes, you just think, it's only just shy of half an hour. I can just empty the tank as quickly as I can. Whereas if you start a game, you have to pace yourself a little bit more. I'm not sure. True. But if you were to have Ogbeni and Washington up top, and then, for example, swap Kelly for Washington later on in the game, it adds a completely different dynamic to our front line. But again, I don't know if Taylor sees Ogbeni as a striking option, or if he's looked at him in training as a wider option, because he has said we're lacking depth in wider positions. He'd like to play potentially with a forward and with proper wingers. We don't have quote unquote proper wingers. So I don't know if he could see Chio in that role. I'm not sure. But in terms of from what we've seen of Chio in his striking position, I would bring him in to start instead of Kelly, because then it completely throws off the dynamic of what Burnley would have reviewed, for example.
True. Mick, what do you think? Eves, could we bring Eves back in? Eves did okay when he came on, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He did. The issue for Eves is that he's just getting ragged about everywhere, and he can't get into a game. So I think Eves is more an impact player for me. If Chio's fit enough to give us 60 minutes, I'd be starting Chio and Wash up front. That pace and movement will allow us an out, as long as we don't start going long, which has been the major issue. The problem we have, and I don't know whether it's the players or what it is, as soon as you put that big man, if you like, up front, we start to go long straight away. and I accept that, and I understand that when you've got Tom Eaves up there, but Georgie Kelly not so much. I don't know. I'll be bringing Chio back. I'll be bringing Chio back, and we know about Georgie Kelly. He is a work in progress. There's two or three more seasons yet before I think he can be an accomplished starting striker. Certainly one more season. I just don't think he's there yet. But as an impact sub, he is absolutely at this stage of his career. That is where he sits for me. Tom Eaves is a different matter, isn't it? It depends how you're going to play, and what the referee is like and what the defence is like. If you've got a referee that is going to impose himself on the game and give fouls when they are fouls, then I'm all for Tom Eaves playing. But unfortunately, he gets less than no protection.
Yeah, it does.
So I mean, it's worse than Smithy. I know Smithy used to get ragged about and not get anything, but with Tom Eaves, it's gone to a whole new level of just completely and utterly ignoring any sort of foul on him. It's just dismissed, and it's bizarre. But anyway, that's how it is. So Chio and Wash to start, and possibly Eaves and Kelly on later on, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, possibly. But a good run of form, Burnley, as you'd expect. A very, very good run of form. They did beat Reading at the weekend. If anybody's seen the penalty incident at the very, very end, they were very lucky to get away with 3 points. So from that point of view, we know what we did to Reading. They've only lost one game this season, and that was to Watford very early on in the season. So they are clearly an excellent team. John Morell says it's in the midfield that is key. Coleman and Cork are absolute class. Need to close them down any opportunity. You know what it says to me, Danny? It says you need Ollie Rathbone and Jamie Lindsay. You start with those two. Start with the energy and hope for the best almost.
Yeah, I think that's my mindset. Just try and tire him out as quickly as possible and hope for the best. So you need your really bitey but quick midfielders, which, you know, as we've said, is Ollie Rathbone and Jamie Lindsay. We are really up against it with this Burnley side. They've not lost at home this season. They are top of the league for a reason. So I think it's certainly in some fans' minds, we could almost look at this game as a free hit because Burnley will be up there this season. I've seen a few people say they are effectively a Premier League team in disguise, with them being in the Championship, but you know, we're all in the same division and anybody can actually beat anybody. So I think if we win, we're in for a surprise. I think right now, a lot of people would just take a draw against Burnley as being the more quote-unquote favoured result if we were to get points from it. But this is really a test of Rotherham's bottle. You know, we've put in what a lot of people consider to be a poor performance against Cardiff, because we were very flat, and we've already gone through this anyway. We've not won since the last time we won. That's bad. I've forgotten. Stoke, yeah. We've not won since Stoke, and Stoke was a complete finesse performance. We've picked up a point against Coventry, which could have been 3 if it wasn't for a little bit of stupidity. But anyway. So this is really a test of Rotherham's bottle. We've lost badly by performance, not by scoreline. So this is really what are you made of? You know, react to that. And then, I don't know, it could equate to a point against Burnley and that strongest showing we get, or whatever it is. But it should be a fun day. I'm coming straight out of uni to go to Burnley, and I really, really hope we put in a good performance, or else I'm going to be very upset on Thursday.
Is your first trip to Burnley?
It is, and I hope the coach turns up.
Well, it's a beautiful place, Burnley. It's beautiful.
I've been told that. I've been told their ground's like the Ritz.
I do like Turf Moor because it's old school. It's very old school. You got 4 different stands that are all different. I like that side of it. But, you know, Burnley makes Rotherham look pretty, to be honest with you. Sorry, Burnley. I apologise. But it's true. You live there, you know. John Rell rightly says, anybody can beat anybody, but we're lucky we didn't have to play Fulham last season with Mitrovic. Very good point.
Oh, God, that looked terrifying playing Fulham.
That's the thing with Championship this season. There is no, we've talked about the start of the season, didn't we? There's no Leeds, there's no Villa, there's no Fulham with Mitrovic. Burnley are the best so far, but Sheffield United were the best not long ago, weren't they? And
yeah, they were.
They've dipped, and we've got them next week.
We need to go.
Sunderland were the best because they've got the biggest attendance.
That's true, actually.
We're back with attendance police. I'm sorry for interrupting you, mate. Carry on.
I'm just saying we need to go there and get in the faces.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be doing. You know that they're not Man City. Much as Vincent Kompany would like them to play like Man City, and much as they are probably staffed by quite a number of Premier League quality footballers, they're still not Man City, and therefore they are get-atable, if that's a word, which I know it isn't, but you know what I mean.
It works.
So we need to get in their faces and rough them up a little bit and be aggressive and be on the front foot wherever possible. We weren't even on the back foot on Saturday. We just did a Sunderland and never bothered getting off at coach. That can't happen on Wednesday night, because if that happens on Wednesday night, it's going to be a cricket score. So you know we just need to get in the faces.
Need to Wickham them. And Nicholas
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I know we've been accused of this a few times this season, and yeah, we did slow the game down quite significantly at Stoke. I know that all the Coventry fans and Coventry commentators were banging on about it against Coventry. I didn't see it anywhere near as much in the Coventry game. But that seems to be our tag, doesn't it? They've got the away supporters and the commentary teams haven't got a Wickham to try and belittle this season. So they're going to try and belittle us. So I'm not interested in that. But I think if you do that against Burnley, you're going to be 3-0 down anyway. So what's the point in wasting time? You might as well have a bash. So go out on the front foot, and hopefully we can cause them, we can upset them a little bit, unsteady them, because like I said, they're not Man City, so they can pass the ball about, but they're not as good. You know, there are going to be flaws in the way that they play, and we've got to try and exploit that if we can, and try and get something out of the game. But I just can't see it.
Yeah, me neither. Give us a prediction then, Michael, please.
2-0. I think we'll lose 2-0.
2-0 to the Burnley. Fair enough. Is that your first loss prediction of the season, Mick? It might be.
I think it might be, yeah.
Okay. Danny, what do you think? Danny's not with us. I will go.
He just popped to put 10 bob in to...
Are you back with us, Danny?
Internet was lagging.
Okay. Go on. Prediction.
Yeah.
You're really upsetting,
I'm back with you, so to put me sick for him, the you know what pot in the meter. Yeah. But I'm not going to, because...
What? Did I cut out them? Danny's line cutting out.
Sorry, did I cut... Did you get my prediction of 2-0 loss?
We didn't know. I've got it now, though.
Well, there you go. Ta-da.
Perfect. I'm not going to go full out. Going to go positive, me. So I'm going to go 1-1. Tours on the see. Because why not? I think we're going to upset them. I think we're going to upset them.
I'd take that 1-1 right now.
Yeah, I absolutely would. Poundwood UK says 3-0 to Burnley. Russ Vernon I'm not quite positive as Russ here, to be fair, but he says we're going to win 1-0. He says on Rathbone. Nicholas Skidmore says 3-1. Sean Green hopes it's not like the 84-85 season when we lost 7-0. Yes. Kim Haywood says, thinks we will lose 1-0. John Morell says, can we start a GoFundMe page for Danny to get a modern internet connection?
I'm at my granddad's. He doesn't have Wi-Fi. Leave me alone. I am on my hotspot, and the signal here is shocking. All right, I'm lucky I've got 4G.
Neil Taylor says 1-0 win to the Millers. Light positivity. We should also point out, finally, before we finish, hats off to Victor Johansson, who is the best keeper in the championship, according to Who Scored ratings so far this season. We all know that to be true. It's about time them in Sweden, who picked the national team, should start seeing that as well.
It's about time the Swedish national, Swedish FA or whatever they are, were called in Sweden, got their fingers out and called him up. It's an absolute outrage. It's a national outrage, national Swedish outrage that he's not been called up yet.
Yes, it is. I don't know if they've got some games to come up before the World Cup. To be honest with you, we'll keep an eye on that because Victor's due a call up. Hopefully,
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give him a ring. Actually,
how's your Swedish?
You what? Sorry.
How is your Swedish?
Yeah, I'll get a translator. Don't worry.
Yeah, we know one. Yeah, let's leave it there because we've gone blooming long and we've whinged and moaned and talked about some right nonsense tonight.
Absolutely.
So apologies. Thank you all for being with us. If you are still with us, thank you very much. Please do subscribe on YouTube if you haven't done already. If you're on audio listening, do iTunes, Spotify, please subscribe on there as well if you can. There's no matchday vlog from Danny this week. Obviously, he didn't go to Cardiff unless you did a vlog of you doing your planes, Danny. Did you do anything like that?
I mean, I don't think I've got enough storage on my phone to time lapse that because it took me 4 hours to half build that plane. And anyway.
Hopefully, Danny will be there on Wednesday. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, everybody makes it on Wednesday from a coach's point of view. We will be back on Thursday evening, back in our usual slot Thursday evening to review whatever happens on Wednesday. And then look ahead to Norwich, another fellow relegated team, come to New York Stadium for the last game at New York Stadium before the World Cup comes around in a couple of weeks' time. Mick, thank you very much. You had your technical problems before we started, so I'm not going to say thank you too much, but thank you for being part of this episode.
No, yes, less technical issues than Danny's had, clearly.
I mean, Danny just literally dropped out at the very end.
As it is, yeah. So if anybody that is listening and watching, when you go to the match, if any of your people you go with does happen to mention our previous manager, you know where they're just giving pages, make sure they contribute to this as well, because it's not just us; it applies to you all.
Applies to everybody. We want your pounds to the hospice. Yeah, Danny, absolutely. Thank you very much for being here.
He's not here.
Yeah, I try my best. Hopefully, I'll have better internet on Thursday.
Hopefully so.
Listen, mate, I know there's a car park in Wales, but it's really good.
Anyway, thank you all, and we'll see you Thursday. Thank you very much.
Ravel, vicious, brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Killer.